Hey guys, my name's Gloria, this is Squish and welcome back to my channel where all month long we are celebrating the spooky season, and I thought why not start off with a cool horror tag, and this tag is the Horror Life tag. It was created by Marie MacWilliams, so you should definitely check out her video down below or up top, wherever I put it. If there are any inconsistencies in this video, it's because I filmed the entire thing and then only had a file for half of the video, so I'm refilming the start because I didn't film it, but let's just call it practice. So this tag includes 8 questions related to horror and horror life, because it's more than just books for me, it's more than just movies, it's a whole host of things. So let's get into the questions. So the first question is, what was the first horror movie you remember seeing? So I'm not entirely sure what it was. I have a distinct memory of watching The Exorcist 2 when I was like 6 years old, and I had nightmares for years of, I think it was The Exorcist 3 actually, because The Exorcist 2 is terrible. I had nightmares about the old woman crawling on the ceiling for years. I still sort of do. But I have another memory that I think I can't verify because my sister can't remember whether this is true or not, or whether it was just a dream, but I remember waking up after bedtime and there were noises in the living room, and I found my mum and my older sister freaking out on the couch watching Evil Dead. I think it was Evil Dead 2. It's the one where his hand goes evil and tries to kill him and he has to chop it off. And I just remember, yeah, sort of getting into their excitement and their horror and their muffled screaming. And the hand did freak me out for a long time. I used to think about what would happen if my hand tried to kill me, you know? These are the things that 6-year-olds think about. So it could have been Evil Dead or it could have been The Exorcist, I'm not sure. Question number 2, what was the first horror book that you remember reading? So when I was a kid I used to read mainly fantasy books. I loved dragons and magic and stuff, but I think I used to steal my sister's Goosebumps books a lot, and I recently did a review of the Boy Who Ate Fear Street. I specifically, I'm very particular about textures when I'm eating, and I specifically remember a scene in that where he's eating the fleas off his dog's back and he can feel their legs in his throat, and it just made me want to puke everywhere. So it was probably a Goosebumps book. Just had to check that I was filming for this one. Question number 3, what is the movie that made you, I'm going to say that was a ghost and not my twitching foot. What was the movie that made you a horror fan? So, that made me a fan of horror. I don't know, I was quite young when we started watching all of the Scream movies and like the slasher murder movies. That made me a fan of horror. I'm not sure. I've loved the Poltergeist. Was one that I've loved since I was a kid. I've always loved that creepy old man in the second one, and the dead bodies and stuff. So probably the Poltergeist. What is the book that made you a horror fan? So I started reading like adult horror novels only when I was a teenager, because I realised I was immediately drawn, even though I'd always read fantasy and I had watched horror movies, I knew that I wanted to write scary stories, so I wanted to write horror. So I was like, you gotta start reading. You gotta start reading horror books instead of just watching horror movies. So obviously I started with Stephen King. I read Carrie because that was his first published novel, and I read it more as sort of a study because I was like, I want to get published at 27. 27 now, not published. But that was sort of how I was watching or reading it as a writer and wanting to do exactly what he was doing. So I read that and I was seeing what he did with the story, how he told it, the different sections, the different newspaper clippings and whatnot, and the different angles and characters of the story. So I think it was probably Carrie by Stephen King. What is your favourite horror movie of all time? This is so hard to answer because I love so many different ones for so many different reasons. The Others is such a good movie. I think though I'm gonna have to go with Poltergeist again. I know it's not like 100% straight up horror. It is sort of, I didn't even realise until I rewatched it recently with my housemate that it's more of like a cozy family movie. I didn't realise that Steven Spielberg actually directed it. So it is sort of a cozy, lovely family movie, but it's still a horror movie as well. And it's really funny as well. I think it's hilarious. So it's got all of these different elements of a great family who love each other and have great relationship. Fantastic dog that does not die. Hallelujah. It's got a little girl with special powers, which I've always loved. And it's got the creepy otherworld pulling you through. I think it's just got all of the elements that I kind of love. So I'm gonna have to go with Poltergeist. Poltergeist is good. I might go watch the second one soon. What is your favourite horror book? What is my favourite horror book? Again, I'm gonna go real mainstream here. And I'm gonna go with The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I just think I'm a real fan of chilling horror and horror that gets under your skin. I'm a real fan of ghosts and stuff. It's a really entertaining book and really well written book, but I've recently been studying it as a writer as well, and just seeing what she's done with it, seeing what she does with the gothic genre and with the building itself, and just everything in it is to me absolutely fantastic. And it's also one of the earliest horror novels with a lesbian in it, with a gay character. I mean, doesn't explicitly use that word, but it's very gay coded, and in the movies as well that they made of it, she's very gay coded. And in the new Haunting of Hill House, that isn't really based on the book, but Eleanor in that is super gay. So yeah, I think that's gonna be a love of mine. If I were to get a first edition of a book, it would probably be that. That would be cool to have. What's your favourite horror trope? My favourite horror trope is possessions. I absolutely love possessions. I've probably seen every possession movie that there is. Just as a bonus, I'll give you my least favourite. This isn't specific for horror, but it seems to happen a lot in horror. It's when there's something that can mess with your mind and it can look like anything. And the character knows this, and they're like, cool, okay, I know this, don't trust what I see. And then they see a dead loved one. It happens every flipping movie. It happens in It as well. He sees Georgie and he's like, oh Georgie, I have to go to Georgie. And it's like, you know that's not Georgie. You haven't seen him since he died. You know it's not him. Don't follow it. Like, if I was in that situation, or if I was in a zombie apocalypse and I knew that that is no longer my family member, bullet in the head, that's it, no qualms about it. If I saw someone I knew to be dead, stay as far away from that person as you can, because that is not them. So that's a trope that I hate, that they always put in movies. And another one, just on like zombies and stuff, I hate it when people are like, if I have to be killed, I want my loved one to do it. Like, I want my wife or I want my daughter to be the one who kills me, which is like when there are perfectly good strangers with guns standing around, they're like, specifically, I want you to do it. It's like, Why would I want my loved one to go on with that traumatic memory? Just let the weirdo in the corner who's gagging to kill someone, just let them do it. I don't understand why they're always putting this in. It doesn't make any sense. Mini rant over, but I do love a good possession, a good demon possession, a good something to do with hell, someone not in control of their body or possibly their soul. That is quite a favourite of mine. And question number 8, the final question, is why do you love horror? Wow, why do I love Oxygen? I think it's just that horror is everywhere, horror is all around us. I think it's in everything, it's in every good story. It should be, even if it's not a horror story, there should be something sort of horrific about it. I was at a gothic retreat recently and Catriona Ward, who's a writer, was there, and she was saying how she loves horror because it's almost like a little virus, which topical, but it just sort of attaches itself to other genres as well, and there's so many people who like to fob it off and be like, oh, that's not a real genre, it's not real art, but it's in everything. We're always a little bit horrified, and I've always been really interested in the sort of the horror that you have to face, the horror that's in your own head as well, that you can't get away from. And you can't be super sunshine happy all the time. It's just not possible. It's not possible at all, and I like to explore the darkness in areas. You should absolutely have happy sunshine times as well, but there's always darkness. I always like to sort of look into the darkness and see what's looking back. So that's why I love horror. So thank you to Marie MacWilliams for putting together that list of questions. I probably went full boring mainstream there, but someone's gonna do it, and I do it so well. So thank you to Marie for that. You should definitely do one of these tags yourself. Ask your friends what they have for these questions. I have lots more tags to do. I'm thinking about making a tag myself. I'll see how that goes, if I can come up with any new or good questions for that. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the new subscribers. I hope everyone is having a spooky, squishy Halloween, and we shall see you in the next video.